I was all stressed out because of I've got to serve tomorrow from the food truck, and we haven't served in a year. We didn't open in 2020 due to every single place that's going to have any amount of people. Those events, shows, concerts were canceled, and that's my entire line of business. Off the top of my head, man, I could name 10, 12 events that I would have made, you know, a good chunk of my money on this summer, and unfortunately they didn't happen. So, you know, I made that decision. I was able to squeak out $220 a week unemployment, or pandemic unemployment, without any additional pandemic assistance due to the way that I applied, and now I'm having a hard time getting my remaining 11 weeks paid, as that ran out back in the end of November / first week of December. Anyway, I was all stressed out because we're serving, and I have to do quite a bit of prep. You know, it's like you got to have the barbecue ready, all my buns are in the car, this, that, and the other. Not only do you have prep, you got to remember everything. So, you know, I'm going through and I'm a little stressed. I left my notebook outside of my house, but I know what I needed to do, and I know what I still need to do, excuse me, to cook what we need to cook. But I just wanted to say, you know, I'm not disappointed, but I usually get into prepping, and with the knife that I bought, it was no work at all. It was ridiculous. So, you know, the mushrooms have a chop, and it's between a fine and a thick chop on most of them. This is an example of the big one, but it's, you know, it's chopped up already. It would come apart in the grill. This took me probably a minute and a half. I did half the whole mushroom. They were big mushrooms, so I was able to, you know, portion them appropriately on the sanitized bamboo cutting board, along with the sanitized knife that I used. So a minute and a half there, 45 seconds to put them all back into the container after I had my big chopped pile. This is 4 large peppers. It's probably 36 ounces. It's a little over 2 pounds, I'd say. And I'm pretty friggin' accurate with weight. That took me a little longer, maybe 3.5 minutes. But again, you know, once I had small enough pieces, I was just taking the knife and just going through, you know, quickly. It's so crazy. It doesn't, my speed is like a lot faster than what it's showing on the screen. But anyway, that's how you go through a whole pepper. You know, I would do an example, but I don't really have anything to show this. But anyway, I got through 4 large peppers probably in about 4 minutes, including, you know, getting them ready to go back in the bag. Everything was on the board, you know, and then back in the bag. Maybe 5 minutes. Between the two, though, man, we're talking like less than 10 minutes of prep, which is a good thing due to time frame, but also, like, I like to prep vegetables more so than meat, which I have to cut meat because they did not have my cut meat at the depot. So I'm a little bit bummed out about that. One of the packs was not 100% frozen when I took it out last night, so I think it might be pretty thawed, you know, and have a hard time getting through a small cut. But that's kind of what I have left. I'm making dinner as well, which is going to be a chicken kamla masala, which is 2 different Indian sauces that I bought, but I'm making a lot. I'm making like 6 or 8 thighs, skin off after they have been roasted in the oven, along with roasted, they're tiny potatoes. They're not fingerling, but they're like the size of a 50-cent piece round. I'm going to cut those in the quarter, roast them, and then throw them in the sauce as well, instead of doing like rice with the Indian. So that's my dinner, and then I'm making a barbecue chicken also, which I have to, well, I mean, that's a secret. So the barbecue chicken's going to be phenomenal once it's done, but it's needs to be prepped as well. So anyway, I wanted to throw that out there because, you know, I was thinking about returning the knife after I held it a lot and cut, you know, some normal things. I was thinking to myself, you know, this is not as heavy as I expected it. And me being a big guy, I want everything to be heavy and solid and big because I'm heavy and solid and big. But also I know that when it comes to like fabrication, that's what stands up, you know, to the elements and to beatings, and everything else is big and heavy and strong. So I did compare the tang of this with my other knife, and they are identical. You know, so it's coming down to like, do I really want that expensive of a knife just to have, you know, the factory made Damascus? But after I finished prepping today in 7 to 8 minutes, I mean, like, yeah, this knife is awesome. And you can still see a pretty sweet blade. I've used this knife 40 times. I use it pretty much daily, sometimes more than once a day. And I have not sharpened it, and the edge is amazing. So if we're looking at like vegetable chopping, you know, 30, 40, 50 times before I need to resharpen, that's amazing. So anyway, definitely not going to return. This is a sweet knife. I might start adding to the collection. They've got similar designs like this. Some of them are like a decagon or an octagon, where like you can fill the grooves and get like a better handpiece. But this is pretty decent. If I was a left-handed person, I could wield with it as well. The unfortunate part for me is like, not only am I not left-handed, is I'm like retarded in my left hand. And you know, I was trying to play guitar back in the day, which would have ended up, you know, coordinating my fingers skills. But I got into a bad motorcycle accident where I broke 3 bones, well, 3 parts of the same bone, and I was in a cast for 8 weeks, 12 weeks. And I've just like, I can't do anything with my left hand. It's just, you know, it's like a retarded hand. So that being said, but yeah, like even if you're left-handed, coming back to it, you've got the same grip as you would with an octagonal or decagon handle. This is an oblong, kind of circular, but it feels good. So yeah, I'm excited to like build up a little collection and start getting rid of my old knives, which are just tiny and thin. But you know what? They did me for 10 years. I bought them like right when I moved into my house. And so the 5-star cutlery or 10-star cutlery from Ron Popeil, depending on where you bought it, like I got the whole thing and the block here for, well, here's my other good chef knife that we were doing the comparison to, Cutco. Cutco uses U.S. steel. I don't know if it's U.S. steel, the actual company, but still from the United States, and everything is fabricated in New York. When I worked there, that's at least the case. So this is a high quality knife as well. Probably, you know, the highest quality you can get in these patterns with this type of metal. And it kind of depends on what your, you know, people add different levels of carbon to iron, and you know, you get different levels of like high carbon stainless steel or like a mid carbon steel, you know, things like that. So I mean, there's definitely ways to get a metal as good as Damascus. And then the cool thing about this is it does have a pretty solid acid etch that like gives you a really long time of being able to sharpen it. So yeah, this is my other good one. But anyway, the Ron Popeil set, and it didn't come with these scissors, but it did come with scissors that were okay. Those are Cutco as well. I used to work for Cutco. But yeah, these are all tiny tanks, you know, knives. Some handles have been broken off just from falling. My dogs have chipped a couple handles. So like, this set has done its job amazingly for 10 years. The amount that I cook, it's just, you know, time to upgrade. So outside of that, my dogs are getting loud, and we'll see you guys later.